So, today, I want to talk about how people in what you would call, and what a lot of companies and corporations like to refer to as the modern audience, are completely disconnected from the reality of what consumers want, whether that be, just moviegoers, game players, gamers, the most oppressed people of all. That is a joke. Twitter, relax. Getting a few too many death threats the last couple days. Stick a chill pill. But they are completely disconnected. And this is something that a lot of people who are engaged with these topics of games or media or comic books or anime or any other thing that dedicates itself to entertainment and that can be used to pass on a message through entertainment, we all know that they're disconnected. And we all know why they're disconnected. It's because most of the time, they spend all of their time talking to each other about how right they are, and about how everybody other than themselves is wrong, all the while ignoring any evidence to the contrary, all the while ignoring anything that might lead one to realize that maybe, just maybe, they are in the wrong. Maybe, just maybe, if a company makes a product with only them as the target audience, and it flops for the 10th time in a row, maybe, just maybe, they are not numerous enough to be a core audience. Maybe, just maybe. However, rather than admit fault and admit that perhaps they are, in fact, not a bunch of likable people, they choose to instead blame others. So today we are going to watch Hirohei talking about some funny Reddit posts, and we're going to be sitting here and we're going to be laughing about it with Hirohei.
Hey guys, hope you're having a wonderful day today.
Every day is a wonderful day. The sun is out, covered by clouds. It's nice and warm, so long as you have a heater. And the flowers are watered, mostly because it hasn't stopped raining in a while. How's it going with you, Hiro?
And in this video, we're going to have yet another great laugh at the modern audience. Check it out over on Reddit. The post, How to Guide Young People Away from the Chud Influencers We Jerk About.
That's a good question. That is a good and fair question. How do you guide young people who are usually completely immune to propaganda? So long as it's just here's the thing: they're not immune to propaganda. That's the wrong way to say it. That's the wrong way to say it. But that's how you do it on the internet. You say the wrong thing first, and then you correct yourself afterwards. Because I already said that, and you just know that there's already going to be comments about it. So, how do you do this? In my opinion, the way to do this is you reach out to them on a level that they will want to be engaged at. Now, the way Asmongold, the way Tectone, the way fucking Joe Rogan, the way all of these influencers do it is not by reaching out, but by creating a space where they can enter, they can speak their mind, they can be listened to, and they can be taken seriously when they say something that anywhere else they would be seen as idiotic assholes who are, spouting crypto-fascist rhetoric. So long as you react to anyone disagreeing with you with insults, people who disagree with you will not join your space. And that's how chud influencers manage to attain such large audiences, because rather than insult the people that disagree with them, they just insult the people who insult them, and they're usually better at it. And meanwhile, the people who disagree with them and say, I don't agree with this. I think that because of this, and this reason, this would be good. They respond with, that's a fair point. We can discuss it a little bit further. Let's talk about it. You think this, I think that. Let's see which one of us is right. And I think that by acknowledging that the other person might be right, acknowledging that there is something that you can learn from them, it makes those people feel as though they can join your space and be valued. And so long as you don't do that, you won't have young people in your space, or at least you won't have the right young people in your space. You'll only have more people who are exactly like you, which I guess is what you want, right? But so let's see what this Reddit circle jerk has come to as the conclusion for this question.
So some quick context here. This is a discussion page for the Gaming Circle Jerk subreddit. If you're not familiar with that subreddit, it's basically just a bunch of like modern audience types who constantly want to defend corporations and incessantly whine about gamers and things like that. Anyways,
I think if you defend the corporation that made the product and then attack the consumers of that product for not liking the product, it's not just about you not understanding the situation. It's not just about you, gobbling corpo cock. It's also about you hating yourself, right? That's why we call these people bots. Because they really just have no original thought. It's all about what is the group saying.
enough about their slop, now on to their tears. Once again, the title, How to Guide Young People Away from the Chud Influencers We Jerk About. The post going on to read, as you may know from my biography, I'm something of a suit emeritus.
What? A suit emeritus? Emeritus is an honorary title granted to someone who retires from a position of distinction. Ah, so he's a former suit. God, why do these Reddit weirdos always talk like this?
For a renewable energy firm. Even though I am nominally retired, the board likes to call me in every once in a while to vet some interviewees in a more personal, holistic way.
Uh-huh.
I'm cordial and pop culture savvy enough to catch young people off guard. It gets us unscripted responses. Those are the make or break. The higher-ups want to make sure we don't hire someone who looks good on paper, but becomes a problem once they're in the office.
I feel like if you have somebody who refers to themselves as a suit emeritus on Reddit doing that final check, especially somebody who is in the gaming circle jerk and who thinks that, chud influences are the problem, they are the ones putting people into your company that are going to cause problems later on.
I've dealt with too much of that in my prime. It never ends well. Which brings me to the other day. I was on Zoom call with a promising applicant, a young man, Generation Z, strong STEM credentials, a medical internship of some sort, etc. I don't remember everything. Ever since the shock, my memory isn't what it used to be.
What shock? What fucking shock, bro?
But what concerned me was that the boy name-dropped Asmongold.
Damn. You were trying to get a pop culture savvy person and talking about them in pop culture terms, and he brought up one of the most relevant people in the gaming space. Wow. Insane. As if it were a thing to be proud of. I mean, I guess, being proud of Asmongold is kind of weird. But, being proud of any content creator is kind of weird.
As if it were a thing to be proud of. I'm really at a loss here. You all know full well Asmongold is fundamentally incompatible with a decent person's value.
In what way? You all know this, right? Just like we all know that this guy is, absolutely somebody who works at this major corporation or used to work, and he just routinely gets brought back in for free, apparently. They're not paying him, right? Because he's retired. To interview their candidates, right? We all know these things to be true, right? Because this guy said it. That's so fucking... You're so fucking stupid, dude. You're so full of shit.
Values. So I'm afraid I may have shown my hand. I said something along the lines of, "Oh, please, not the cockroach man."
Okay.
But the applicant seemed genuinely confused. What's wrong with him?
Exactly. What is, in fact, wrong with him? Can you explain it? Because so far, you've made the claim, right? This is the same type of thing of like, oh, we all know this person's a Nazi. All right, what evidence do you have that they're a Nazi? Do they wear memorabilia? Do they have tattoos? Do they say things? Do they salute the Third Reich? Do they do all these things? Well, no, I just don't like them. Okay, so maybe you're the fascist, right? You're the Nazi. You're the one throwing a label on somebody so you can take their rights away and you can beat them to death with whatever fucking thing you want to do. Which was something the Nazis did, by the way.
How do we stop this sort of thing?
We don't.
I see it more and more these days. Part of me wants to encourage the board to vet social media more intensely, but I prefer the personal touch. Is there a way to debunk these young people in real time?
Debunk what? He made no claim. He just asked you what's wrong with him. Explain it. If you can't explain what's wrong with Asmongold in real time and you need to go on Reddit to ask for a fucking solution to the problem, do you actually have a problem with Asmongold? Because, like, here's the thing. I've talked to a bunch of people. A lot of people dislike Asmongold on principle. There are 3 types of people who dislike Asmongold on principle. There are the people who do not vibe with his type of content. No problems there. There are the people who think he is very dirty and unhygienic. No problem there. Both of these are valid. Both of them, right? And then there's the third type of person. Oh, and by the way, in the doesn't vibe with his content, I mean, I just don't agree with what he says, and so I watch other people. Perfectly valid, right? The third type of person is the person that you should have a problem with. The type of person who has been told Asmongold is a bad person. The type of person who has been told Asmongold is problematic. The type of person who, because Asmongold thinks certain things or puts out certain videos, you think that he needs to be completely exiled from the public eye, completely removed from the space, completely annihilated from the public sphere. That's the type of person you should have a problem with. And it very much seems like this guy, who basically outright stated, as we all know, Asmongold is fundamentally incompatible with a decent person's values. Why? You can't even explain it. So you're clearly the third type of person. You clearly don't have a problem with his content because you probably don't even watch him. You didn't even talk about his hygiene, but then again, that doesn't really matter for the situation because you were talking about somebody's political and personal views, so that's not the reason. So all you probably have is other people's opinions of him. Am I right? Let's see. Let's see, right? Because we're still at the start of the video. I've been yapping for 10 minutes at this point, but let's see.
But I prefer the personal touch. Is there a way to debunk these young people in real time? So yeah, this is like peak
I like this.
modern audience corpo stuff right here. And I especially love at the end how he's like, is there a way to debunk these young people in real time?
But debunk what, right? The kid made no claim. He just asked the question.
Like, what is that even
Is that Hirohei? Yes, this is Hirohei.
supposed to mean exactly? Debunk what specifically? It sounds like he just can't stand that there are people who don't follow the modern audience slop stuff that this guy follows. And he needs to find, like, desperately.
It's not even that, though, right? He's not mad that the kid doesn't follow the same people he follows because we don't know the rest of the conversation, right? The guy could have said, "Oh yeah, I like Hassan, I like Cenk Uyghur, and I also like Joe Rogan, and I really like Asmongold." And the only thing that he listened to was Asmongold, right? Could be wrong here, right? I could be completely wrong. He could have just said, "Oh, so what type of content creators do you watch?" "Oh, I really like listening to Asmongold because I think that he says some stuff that he's been right a lot of times, and whatever, right?" Putting myself in the kid's shoes, somebody who really likes Asmongold would say these things. And then this guy took offense to it as like, how do I debunk him? What is there to debunk? You're just mad that he likes somebody you don't like.
Really try and find some way to debunk them. And I don't even really get how debunk is the proper word here. Like,
It's
the whole
not.
thing is a
It's not.
weird thing to say, and it doesn't really make sense to me.
He used debunk because these Reddit weirdos, it's the same thing as when we saw here. He refers to himself as a suit emeritus, which basically means he was a corporate employee and now he's retired. That's it. That's what emeritus means. He's a retired suit. And this guy thinks that is enough for everything else that he says here to be worth a dick. But he thinks that the use of more expensive terms, more intelligent-sounding words, the use of Latin, the use of debunk, which is a debate term, he believes that these make him appear smarter and therefore more knowledgeable. And by being more knowledgeable, other people have to listen to him. And because other people have to listen to him, he is a better person than you. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all these people believe. That's why he used the term debunk.
To me. So my takeaway is that these people are desperate and they don't even make sense.
Also that.
Anyways, the comedy doesn't end there because one of the top responses is this, and it reads,
I think a big issue is that...
I think a big issue is that the
I always want to read these, but Hirohei reads them for me, so it saves me the trouble.
narrative that, quote, progressivism is the new mainstream, unquote, has taken strong root, and no young person wants to be seen as not countercultural. So let's pause already because that's not even a new thing.
Yeah. Progressivism as the new mainstream has been around for at least a decade at this point, which is kind of why so many more young people are turning against it, because young people kind of like being countercultural, just as a base. It's kind of why so many young people tend towards liberalism. Old people tend towards conservatism no matter what. But young people in their infancy tend to go away from whatever it is their parents are. And then later on in life, they do a further evaluation once their brains have fully developed, usually at the ages of 25 and 30. They do a full evaluation, and then they decide, okay, do I want to stay the path for liberalism? Do I want to go conservatism? Do I want to be a capitalist? Do I want to be a retard? Wait, sorry, that's not the word. Communist. What do I want to do with my life, right? And that's why they usually would go liberal. But now that progressivism, liberalism, all of these things have become the mainstream in these, like, media outlets that you see online, like, almost every single media outlet will represent any form of right-wing opinion as being a fringe opinion, which is just not true. But that's why so many young people are going away from it.
For plenty of years now, those viewpoints have been shoved onto people from all levels of government to massive corporations and major multinational asset firms. In other words, it's been the mainstream. So let's continue. They say, this is further reinforced by all of the anti-woke media figures being most popular in alt media spaces like Twitch and YouTube, rather than the traditional cable news / talk show environment.
Exactly. Because, and here's the thing, the cable news, the talk show, the traditional stuff is the mainstream. As you said, the alternative media spaces, which are not controlled, they don't have like this greenhouse effect to them. They're not like, you're not compelled to have a certain opinion to be a part of these spaces. You could just have your opinion, and if people agree with you, they flock to you and they see what you're doing and they go, hey, I like this guy. This guy's pretty funny. I like the way I like your funny words, Magic Man. And they subscribe and they like and they show up again next time, right? That's what happens with the alt media spaces. Alternative media spaces are pure meritocracies. Now, it can be a meritocracy because you know the right people, right? Which a lot of times it's the case, right? You're friends with a famous person. You go, hey man, I'm starting a Twitch channel. You want to help me out? And they help you out. And you never really go through the early stages. That's fine. Other people are just super lucky. You create a nice overlay. You start your stream. A bunch of people show up right away. You get super lucky. You blow up. You get 20 fucking thousand viewers day one. Followers, I mean, day one. So you never go from being like the little guy with 200 followers, And then there's the people like me who struggle, because they're not lucky. They don't know anybody, so they just got to keep going. They just got to keep going until they do get lucky. However, there is one thing that never happens in alternative media spaces like Twitch and YouTube. No one on Twitch or on YouTube gets famous without having an audience that watches their content. And to have that audience, people need to agree with you. So this idea of, this is further reinforced by all of the anti-woke media figures, they only exist because people agree with them, right? But the culture is defined by these guys, the traditional cable news and talk shows. So this thing, a big issue is that the narrative that progressivism is the new mainstream has taken strong root and no young person wants to be seen as not countercultural is entirely true. Because progressivism is the new mainstream, has been for 10 years at least. Trump was president for 4 years, and the reigning narrative was, he's not the real president, he's evil, he's doing this, this, and this, and this, and this. Every single media outlet, even here in Europe, was entirely against him. He couldn't go outside without being accused of a war crime. Meanwhile, Obama, a progressivist, did some good things, but like he got his Nobel Peace Prize 9 months into his presidency, I think. He hadn't ended any wars. He had started new wars. He had increased drone strikes. He had caused a bunch of deaths, and somehow he gets a peace prize. Why? Because he was a progressive. He was a black president. They wanted him to appear good. And he was good. I'm not saying he wasn't. But there was an absolute effort made to make him look better than what he was doing. And what he was doing was good. I'm saying it again. He did good things. But he also did bad things. No one talked about the bad things. Trump did good things. No one talked about them. Trump did bad things. Everybody talked about them. Biden didn't do anything good. Like, let's be honest, he kind of just sat through. He also didn't do anything bad, except for, like, at the end where he pardoned a bunch of people he really shouldn't have pardoned. But, like, can you blame him? He pardoned his own son. I would have done the same shit. Like, fuck you. You're not stopping me. Nobody really talked about that. Like, alternative media talked about it because it was a big deal. And some, right-wing news outlets talked about it, but they didn't really get much traction because most of the media companies are owned by left-wing people, which is why the culture, the mainstream, is progressivist. But the alternative media space has all of these anti-woke media figures that gain a lot of power because the current culture is woke. And so the anti-woke becomes the counterculture, and all of the young people go to the counterculture. It makes sense.
I think pro-equality figures need to become masters of alt-media spaces.
You don't believe in equality, you believe in equity, it's different.
And also learn how to debate the ideas of anti-wokeness on a substantive level. Yes, the memes about Asmon being greasy are funny, but attacking the person doesn't defeat the ideas they propagate.
Very true.
For me, personally, one thing that most moved me away from my conservative upbringing was seeing progressive YouTubers like Cenk Uygur, Hassan Piker, Stephen Bonnell,
Hassan Piker, that's a funny one,
and Ian Kaczynski debating the likes of Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, and Tim Pool.
Hassan has not won a debate in his entire life, except for the one he had against Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate's a retard.
The left can meme, but they need...
No, they can't. No, they cannot. No, they cannot.
Need to learn how to persuasively argue. I also don't know why this person is pretending to care about equality when their line of thinking...
Okay, look, I swear, not pre-watched.
...constantly pushes equity, not equality.
I did not watch this video before this, I swear.
For example, the DEI stuff they constantly propagate and defend. The E stands for, once again, equity, not equality.
Yeah, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion, not equality. And by the way, for those who don't know the difference, equity is equality of outcome. Equality is equality of beginnings, right? So basically, equality believes that you should not be compelled, or actually, equality believes that you should not be able to call upon somebody's race to fire them. Their sexuality, their culture, their beliefs, you should not be able to call upon any one of these things. Now, you can say, hey, look, everybody here has a problem with the way you expose your cultural beliefs to them, so I can't have you here. But now the problem isn't his cultural beliefs, it's his attitude, right? At the same time, you cannot hire somebody based on it. That's equality. Equity is completely different. Equity is, okay, so you have 30% white people in your company. You need X% black people, X% Asians, X% Indians, X% women, etc., etc., etc. And what this does is it prevents the company from hiring the best of the best Because you're reducing the amount of people you can hire, right? Let's say that there's 10 people that are being hired. 20 people apply to the position, 14 of which are white. And you can only have 40% white people, and you're only hiring 10 people. So of those 16%, you can hire the top 4. So those people are going to be good at their job. And then the other 6% that are applying, of the 20, are, they're in the minorities that you need. And so you just hire all of those people. You don't even really check their resume. You don't check how capable they are, because you need those people. You need to hire those people in order to hire the other 4. And you can't fire those people either, because if you do, then it's discrimination because of the equity clause, right? You cannot get rid of those people because you need somebody of that ethnicity or that culture or that gender in your company to fill out the equity laws. So what do you have now? You have 4 people who are really good at their jobs, and then you have 6 diversity hires. That's equity.
To be fair, maybe this person doesn't actually agree with the equity thing. We would need them to elaborate on that a little bit more, so I just thought it was funny.
Most of those people do not agree with equity. They just don't know what it means.
But I'm
mostly because most of these people don't actually think about the things that they are arguing in favor of.
Willing to give them benefit of the doubt. Here's a response that actually got minus 24 downvotes.
Ooh,
so people
let me guess, he disagreed.
Are not happy with this one. Let's see what it says. I understand the concern, but Asmongold's actually a pretty positive influence for a lot of young guys. He's real, honest, and built his platform through hard work, which makes him relatable in a world full of fake personas.
Absolutely. I think Asmongold is one of the more positive people in the platform. He tries to be honest about his opinions. He doesn't go around backstabbing people as soon as he gets the chance. Yeah, he just tries to keep it real and does his own things.
He talks openly about mental health and burnout, which helps break the stigma around those topics.
And he also is very open about the fact that he's aware people don't give a shit. He's aware that the audience doesn't actually care about the mental health of their entertainment. They go, oh, do your thing, take care of yourself. But at the end of the day, how many streamers and content creators do all of us know take a break for mental health, and then they come back and their audience is gone? Right? How many of us have seen that happen? We've all seen it happen, because it happens. Because at the end of the day, the audience just really cares about being entertained.
Plus, he encourages thinking for yourself and isn't afraid to call out toxic behavior in gaming spaces or his own chat.
Also very true. He will allow you to speak whatever opinion you have. He will even allow you to disagree with him, so long as you are actually disagreeing with him from a place of honesty. If all you're doing is disagreeing to disagree, or to get on the screen, or to call him names, or to do all of that stuff, yeah, he's going to ban you because you don't belong in the community, because you don't want to be a part of the community.
People look up to him because he's authentic, not because he promotes harmful ideas. Might be worth asking why this person admires him before jumping to conclusions. There could be a number of reasons for this boy. Not all are bad.
Almost none of them are going to be bad.
And the most upvoted response to that response is this one that says,
oh boy.
Nah.
Nah. Okay, I don't give a shit about anything else he's going to say, because he opened up with, nah, he's a chud. Any benefit he theoretically is doing...
And any benefit he theoretically is doing by talking about mental health is directly counteracted by him being an awful, disgusting human being who believes other human beings are lesser for trying to actually be authentically themselves. The only thing he's authentic about him is that... Wait, what? The only thing he's authentic about him is that his outside 100% reflects what's inside.
This person right here, you are the reason why left-wing spaces are unable to retain young people. Because a young person, what is the one thing that you hated the most when you were young? Because to me, it was when I would walk up to my parents, I'd ask them a question, and they'd give me the answer, and I'd say, but wait, why is it that way? And the response would be, well, whatever, just do whatever the hell you want. Because whenever that happened to me, I would immediately go, oh, okay, whatever you had to say doesn't matter, because you don't fucking know what you're talking about. I also don't know, but you don't either. And you're sitting there claiming authority over the subject, giving no argument, just telling me what to think, not how to think or why to think it. So at that point, I don't care what you have to say. I'm going to go make up my own mind. My own parents did that to me. It's 90% of the reason we would argue when I was younger, and 90% of the reason we argue today. They tell me what to think. I say why. They get mad at me. Why would I ever be in a space about sharing opinions where my own opinion isn't allowed to be shared? Where I'm not even allowed to question why somebody has a certain opinion? Right? This guy, this whole thing here, and here's the thing. Joe Rogan. The left hates Joe Rogan, even though he's a lefty, or was a lefty. Why do the left hate him? Oh, because he gives space to all of these awful ideas. Wrong. He gives the space to those awful ideas, and then he asks a very important question. Why do you think that way? How do you think? What do you think about? These three things. Why, how, and what. How, what, and how, what, why, how. They are always the questions he asks. And when you ask this to somebody who genuinely believes what they're saying, and who has thought about their opinion, the person will always give you an answer. And they'll give you a thorough answer. One that you can actually look at and go, good thinking. I don't agree. I think that you missed this, and this point. And usually, when somebody truly cares about the truth, they'll go, oh, that's a good point. I did neglect those points. I neglected them because of this, and this. But maybe I shouldn't have. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it. Let's evolve together. Asmongold also does this. Every time he talks about something and somebody disagrees with him vehemently, he goes, okay, why are people disagreeing with me vehemently? Let's see. Okay, they believe this. Why do they believe this? Oh, because of this, and this. I didn't really think about that. Maybe I should change it. And he changes his opinion. Just like he did with his last cancellation, where people were super mad at him, and then he talked to a bunch of people, and then he was like almost in tears, talking about how the people who reached out to him to make sure he was okay during the whole time were the very people he was demonizing. And it changed his opinion completely. He went back and he apologized and he took it all back. And that's how you evolve this space. That's how you get young people to join you. It's not by just going, nah, he's a chud.
They
Guy's
would
an
get
idiot.
a response that also got -10 downvotes saying, I find some of his gaming takes is questionable, but Zach never deserved reputation he has in certain circles. He's a very simple and poorly educated guy, but I don't find him evil. Most of his views are even quite progressive. There are much worse influencers like Tate or Elon.
Anybody who thinks Asmongold is simple, which really just means dumb in this situation, and poorly educated is an idiot. Asmongold is a millionaire, and he's a millionaire off of his own sweat and off of the sweat of his own brow. All right? He got lucky at the start with the WoW stuff, and then he built it up into a persona that people can actually attach themselves to, because it's him. Right? Saying that he's simple and poorly educated is very stupid because he's been right 90% of the time. Whenever he says, hey, I think this is going to happen, couple months pass, he was right. I think this is going to happen, couple months pass, he was right. This happens a lot more than people give credit for. So the idea that he's simple and poorly educated is very stupid. And putting Tate and Elon together is absolutely retarded. Completely. Because here's the thing. Andrew Tate is an actual grifter. He is somebody who has made his fame initially off the backs of women, which, he convinced to let him manage them on OnlyFans, and then he took half their profits. I don't think this can be argued anywhere. He's admitted this a million times over, so all the Tate fanboys, don't get mad at me. And then he continued his success with casinos, illegal behavior, illegal all sorts of things, and just not paying taxes. Meanwhile, Elon made his fortune with PayPal, with Tesla, with rockets, with changing the world for the better. Now, Elon is aggressively neurodivergent. Aggressively so, right? He does all of these unreasonable fucking things, and it's weird. And you look at it and you go, haha, point and laugh at him. He's so stupid. How is this person rich? He's so dumb. And then you start talking to him about the stuff that, he actually works with, and you realize that he's actually quite intelligent. He's just a bit of a dunce when it comes to social graces and, behaving in public. Because at the end of the day, yeah, he's very clearly, I want to say on the spectrum, but I feel like it doesn't really count as being a spectrum if he's just all the way to one side, right? I think he's all the way autistic. That's what Elon Musk is. And I think that the moment that you realize that, you realize, yeah, he's just autistic. And I mean, he's had opinions that people on the right hated him for. And then people on the left went, haha, see? The guy that was grifting for you is actually on our side. You've been tricked. And then immediately went back to hating on him because he had a different opinion that now they hated. Elon Musk, when he bought Twitter before he turned it into X, he said, I will be happy with the moderation on X, or Twitter at the time. I don't remember if he called it Twitter or X or whatever. I will be happy with the moderation when the 10% most extreme people on both sides are angry. He succeeded at that. The extreme right-wing people who think that all immigration is bad hate him. And the extreme 10% of people who think all immigration is good are also angry with him. The people who are, he's very, very much on one side regarding the LGBT situation, which is kind of why so many people hate him in this sort of space, though, which doesn't really have much to do with gaming.
There are much, much worse influencers like Tater Elon, Response there says, he has control over his sub, channels, and editors.
Yes, and he makes it a point to not abuse that control to tell them what to think.
If he really wanted to push the progressive stuff,
he doesn't push one way or the other, he pushes his personal opinion. He doesn't even push it, he just states it, and then people agree with him.
He would, but he allows the dumb and gamer stuff to propagate.
Because he is a gamer, and you call it dumb. And it's like, if he's so dumb, but he's right so many times, maybe he's not that dumb. Like, am I crazy for saying this?
And be his main narratives. I don't think he's as bad as Tater Elon, but he doesn't do a lot to beat the allegation.
What fucking allegations? What allegations? The allegation, oh, you're a Nazi. That's not an allegation. That's an accusation. I could do the same thing. I could say, oh, you're a rapist. Oh, you're a pedophile. Oh, you're a murderer. It's the same shit. Completely irrelevant. Means nothing. It means nothing. It has no value whatsoever. You want to know why? Because it's on you to prove it. And unless you can prove it, it's dirt. And because you can't prove it because it's not real, it's dirt. Go away.
So the allegations here are that he doesn't pander to modern audience type rhetoric. Okay. And finally, we'll take a look at this exchange where the OP is also responding. So I thought this one was rather interesting.
Sure.
The first comment here reads, what exactly are you trying to debunk? Asmongold is simple-minded, but he is not exactly dangerous or ambitious. Maybe it's time to retire for good. You can spend more time on not getting invited to anything.
Cooked.
To which the OP says, he may not be consciously dangerous. I've not watched him.
I was right. I called it at the start of the video.
I only know him by reputation through the circle jerk side of this community. But, oh gosh. I was going to pause and comment on this after. I don't think I can make it, bro. We got to comment on this really quick. So, this self-proclaimed suit, this corpo dude, is seriously taking a circle jerk subreddit's opinion on someone.
Yep.
And running with that unironically as if it's just like objective fact.
Yep.
Like, oh, I haven't watched him myself. I haven't actually made...
I don't actually know what his content is about, but some of the gooners on Reddit have told me he's evil, so I assume he's evil.
my own opinion on him based off what I've seen. No, but the circle jerk people said that he's a terrible person, so clearly they're right. Clearly that person's got to be terrible. How do we debunk him? And how do we
Yeah.
debunk people like him?
You don't.
It's shocking that this dude
You don't, because they're right a lot of the times. You can't really debunk the truth.
doesn't see how terrible of a take that is.
I mean, he probably does. That's the thing. But the problem with a lot of people, and I don't just mean these people, I mean people in general, because a lot of people on both sides commit this mistake. The problem that a lot of people have, the mistake that they make, is the idea that so long as they are right, it doesn't matter why they're right or how they are right. What does this do? This means that they don't actually worry about being right. They worry about following someone who they think is right and being around somebody that they believe is right. And at the end of the day, you're eventually going to follow somebody who is wrong. And when that happens, you are not going to have the mental capacity to realize you are following somebody who is wrong.
Please get some self-awareness. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me try getting through this comment again now without the pause. My apologies.
Yeah.
He may not be consciously dangerous. I have not watched him. I only know him by reputation through the circle jerk side of this community, but he often associates with those who are.
Who?
Why such a flippant and rude reply?
You literally called the guy a cockroach, man. Fucking what? Why so flippant and rude? I just called him a cockroach and said that people like him were subhuman and don't belong in society. You shouldn't be rude to me. Be a nicer human, please. There's enough vitriol in today's world. Unfortunately, you're the source of that vitriol.
Be a nicer human, please. There is enough vitriol in today's world. Says the person who takes character assassination posts on one of the most toxic subreddits out there as objective fact. And
not to mention, this was a character assassination post by itself. It just hit itself as, how do I character assassinate this guy in front of young people?
And lastly, the other person says, I'll get right to work on being a pompous, self-appointed, nicer human. I don't see much of a difference between these associates of Asmongold and the circle jerker.
I mean, there is a noticeable difference. See, the associates of Asmongold actually go out of their way to interact with the circle jerkers to see the people who disagree with them in person, whereas the circle jerkers do everything in their power to not ever interact with anything to do with the things that they disagree with. I think that's a pretty major difference.
And that's the end of it. The OP never responded in that chain once again.
Of course he didn't respond. His feelings were hurt. He probably, he had to go drink some warm water or something.
So,
or let's be real, he probably went to smoke a bunch of weed and drink a bunch of alcohol and somehow consider himself better than anybody else by numbing his view of reality to the point that nothing made sense. And a lot of people are going to go, "Oh, you're being mean." Yes.
We'll leave it there. I probably should have made a disclaimer at the beginning of this video that you might lose some brain cells from reading this stuff.
I mean, if you're ready for it, if you take this stuff in moderation, there's a reason why I don't watch a lot of Hero Hey videos, right? Because a lot of the Hero Hey videos that I've seen, I don't know if that's all his content, but a lot of it is just reacting to the most idiotic side of the internet. And you can't just take that sort of content every day. It has to be in moderation. And because it has to be in moderation, you can't react to this all the time. You can only react to it a little bit, piece by piece. One video here, one video there. Only when it's a topic I really find enjoyable or I really find fun.
But I guess it's a little late now. Regardless, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. It was funny at least.
Oh yeah.
Kind of also pathetic, but funny.
I mean, it's funny because it's pathetic. It's kind of like watching a fly just spinning around on the ground. It's funny like that. The fly is pathetic, and you're like, wow, that's kind of sad, and it's just flying around in a circle. And you don't really want to touch it because it's a fly and it's dirty. You also don't want to crush it because you feel bad for it, so you kind of just walk away from it.
Funny. If you like what I had to say and you like the coverage and all that, please consider liking and or subscribe.
I will, in fact, give him a like. I will not subscribe. As I said, I don't really like watching all of the Hero Hey videos. I just watch once I just watch one video every once in a while.
To the channel as well. Appreciate your support, and let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments.
I think that the people who allow others to make up their own opinion of a topic without ever thinking about it for themselves are frankly pathetic. They demean the very concept of the original thought. They demean themselves by, not even attempting to have original thought, and they demean the people that they try to interact with by being completely idiots about it. But let me know what you think about this stuff. If you want to, of course. Leave a comment if you want to support the video. It helps a lot. Leave a like, leave a dislike. All those things help the video, of course. And if you want to watch more of this stuff, make sure to subscribe. I appreciate it greatly. Trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year. That would be really nice. Maybe we can make it in the first quarter. Maybe not. We'll see. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Cheers. Okay.